What is going on? I'm Zedmont. We are here. Mega Crab is here. What that means is we're going to do some basic housekeeping, and then we're going to get into some operation attacks and Mega Crab and all sorts of full boost awesomeness. I've got a resource reward 45% statue sitting here. I'm going to leave that in my storage, see how things go. If needed, I could always bring it out, but I really don't want to waste an offensive statue, so probably not going to do that. First of all, we're going to get our daily chest. I always take shards here, but today I'm going to take diamonds just because, as you can see up the top there, I'm a little bit short on diamonds. Don't recommend taking diamonds from that boat. The shards are so important. Anyways, operation chest. Right about now, during the Mega Crab, 3.3 million gold seems like a lot, but if we have a look at my available places to use it, I've already got max Everspark, I've got max Bullet. It costs 500 diamonds to finish those mechs, so we are going to go ahead and select diamonds. Diamonds usually the right option here, unless you're trying to do a big upgrade. During Mega Crab, diamonds probably the best bet. Speaking of Mega Crab, we are not going to be attacking any PvP bases. Do not waste any time on PvP bases except for scouting them. Make sure you scout them. When you scout them, it checks to see how many resources they have, and you want to do that during the Mega Crab. So right about now, we're not doing super well with these. We want to replace all of the ones that have low loot. I'm not going to go through every single one of my bases. See that though? 528,000 gold. That's a ton of gold. So this person has decent resources. Not going to re-roll that one. Let's see what level 56 has got for us. Only 110,000 iron. So we're going to re-roll that. Obviously, if you're not sure, it's probably better to keep it. But during the Mega Crab, look at that, 209,000 iron. One more thing to note. Obviously, check the language of the name. If it's the middle of the night for in China, for example, you probably don't want to scout a name written in Cantonese or Mandarin or something like that. A little bit over the top there. But for those of you who are struggling for resources, reload those and keep reloading them. Don't attack any PvP bases during Mega Crab. We are going to go full boost. During the Mega Crab, if you're trying to go as far as you can or farm powder, do full boost. By full boosting, you're going to guarantee that A, you're going to go faster through the Mega Crab, B, you're going to get more stages done, and C, you're going to get more resources and more powder. As long as you're not out of attack or something like that, full boosting means for every 10 powder you spend, you're going to get at least 10 back. So I recommend full boosting at all times as a max level player. For low level players, it really depends on what your goal is. If your goal is just to get upgrades, probably not a great idea to full boost because you're just going to do like 4 attacks and then start an upgrade and come back in a couple hours. Anyways, what we're going to do is we are going to start on red line. Red line is we just started deep cut. Actually, you know what? Let's get into some Mega Crab first. What I'm going to do here, I am just going to drop my troops and then close the game, come back as soon as I fail, like literally use all my gunboat energy up, and then as soon as that's done, close the game. Now, I use it all on the core. Once you get further in, if you're just trying to do as much crab as you can, as fast as you can, obviously use your gunboat energy to get rid of things like shock launchers and stuff. But for those low levels, and by the way, obviously I haven't force quit quite yet. We're just going to go something like that and then drop all our troops and then throw all of our gunboat energy towards useful stuff and then close the game. And when you force close your game, what happens is Boom Beach just plays it out as if you're there, except for not throwing any flares, shock, smoke, etc. So your troops are just going to target the standard buildings they would troop and attack the standard buildings they're going to attack. And so closing the game, if you're a max level player, is a great way to progress very quickly. You can easily and quickly get the iron statue that way. And for me, I don't have a lot of time to play Mega Crab. Mega Crab for me is just a way to get resources and a way to get powder. Typically, it's just a way to get powder. But right about now, with the fact that we do have the HQ 24 here, I want to get as many resources as I possibly can so I can get a couple more landing crafts upgraded. So now that we've gone over that, as soon as this attack finishes, I'm going to pause this video and then come back. Now, obviously, on the dev build, that's far easier because I can just say skip level or whatever the heck it is. For the real live game, that is not an option, as you'll likely know. So when I come back, it's likely going to have probably had 10, 15, 20 minutes pass, and then we're going to switch troops, get into something else. I'm probably going to use zookas to start with until I fail. We'll see how that goes in a second. What I want to do here quickly, we're on to stage 5. I want to quickly check my powder count. We're at 28. I'm going to just keep force closing, come back in a second, and then we'll see exactly what my powder count is at. Where did that? Okay, there we go. Okay, and just like that, we are back. We are on to stage 22. Lost our, if we look, let's look at my attack log here. As you can see here, averaging seconds per stage. What's that, like 30 seconds a stage? Flying all the way through. Now, we lost our first troop at stage 15. Before that, there was absolutely 0 troops lost. One thing to note, you'll see that I switched to Everspark. If you're going to use Bullet and Force Close, he dies, because he needs a little bit of input, whether it be hitting energy drink or whatever it is. So do not use Bullet if you're going to Force Close. I prefer Kavan or Sparky. If we go up to stage 18, that was when we first saw our first shock launcher right about back there, but thankfully we did have the remote hack, so the first thing I did was hack that. Then we just dropped all of our troops, and if you watch here, you'll notice that I do not use any, at this point it's not me, this is completely the game playing. I am doing nothing. This just shows the power of a maxed account and the power of tank medics. So these tanks, I almost lost a tank there. I think I lost a couple troops, but nonetheless managed to take down every single stage from 1 to 21. Now, if you look at 21, I ended up having 2 bombardiers and 2 medics left over. That is where we just ended, and I figured that means it's time to come in. So the reason for that is Doom Cannon, SEMO, Doom Cannon, Shock Launcher. I'm amazed that this went down with 0 input, just shows how much skill I have, obviously. Now, I think the savior here is all of those left-hand side critters are going to just inundate that Doom Cannon. So without those, I don't think we would have got it, but I'm still frankly amazed that this went down. So our tanks are getting shot by those shock launchers. Doom cannons are doing all sorts of damage, but in the meantime, our bombardiers, I guess, nope, our bombardiers are still in range. Somehow this went down. I'm guessing because Everspark's critters. So had we have had Bullet, that would have not gotten down, but I'm fairly impressed that that went down. Now that that's done, little bit of crab time, a little bit of a crab break, I should say. What we're going to do is we are going to load a bunch of zookas, then we're going to load a bunch of bombardiers, and I'm going to try my best to do a hit that I've never done before, the hit that probably no one has ever done before, simply because we got a weird version of redline. If you have a look at this redline right in here, you'll notice that we've got only a couple rocket launchers off to the left-hand side here, and then we've got a shock launcher up there. So what I'm going to try and do is clear all sorts of areas so that Grens can get these shield gens. What you do is you clear all this front stuff. Grenadiers stand right behind that fence there, get all of these shield gens. Well, those grapplers can't quite reach them. So we're going to try and Everspark hack some stuff and then clear. I really don't have much of a plan here, but we're just going to do... Oh no! Oh, I forgot to change to Everspark. No! This is going to be awful. Okay, so this is not what I had planned whatsoever. So what I need to do now is... Oh, damage control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go something like this. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4... 1, 2, 3. This is not what I had planned at all. This is like 100% not planned. This is not going terribly, terribly well. But I guess I can just drop my bombardiers in behind. This is a complete and utter mess. Not going as per the so this was supposed to be zookas after I had hacked a couple rocket launchers and after I had gotten rid of the shock launcher. So complete and utter mess being made right here, but thankfully I hope we have enough gunboat energy. Now what I need to do is I just need to flare that shock launcher, because otherwise this attack, we're not going to have enough gunboat energy. Otherwise, need our bombardiers to get rid of that shock launcher. Not going as planned. So obviously when you do an operation attack, you need to make sure you have the right troops loaded, and I completely and utterly screwed that up. So not happy with that attack whatsoever, but hopefully we can at least get rid of that last boom cannon, clear a couple more mines by dropping our... That was not... I mean, it ended up being like a C+, but it means that someone else is going to have to come in and do a bunch of work now. So complete and utter failure on my part. So now it's time to quickly update the note. Blah, blah, blah. Clear all BCs, snipers, and MGs so Grands can get shield gens. Oh, bit of a letdown there. I was all primed to have a fantastic hit and then completely and utterly screwed it up. So now what we're going to do is we are going to use zookas on the Mega Crab simply because why not? We're going to use all zookas until we fail. Then we're going to mix some heavies in. Oh, speaking, clearly I should have scouted first. So we've got a shield over here. It's not that big though, so hopefully we should be able to walk our troops back there. Is that going to clear that? No, it's not. So we're going to throw... Can we walk? What's the shorter walk? I'm going to use this right-hand side walk because it looks far, far safer. Many, many fewer things to blow up. And then we're just going to blow it all up. This was not... Speaking of mistakes, so clearly I did better when I was not actually involved. So far, the Mega Crab and my operation attacks not going super duper great. My troops are walking in a path that I did not foresee, but hopefully they get underneath those smokes faster than... Okay, so we're doing okay. Thankfully, this is only level 22, so we're still trudging along here. Definitely not doing as well as I would have liked, but just so bad. Now what I'm gonna do is you'll notice that typically I'll throw my smokes in the last one second last and the second last one last, if that makes any sense. In this case, we're gonna do things slightly differently. We're gonna throw some shocks over in here and some more critters and then some med kits and hopefully melt that shield. Boom, shaka laka. NBA Jam reference right about there, by the way. So we had lots and lots of gunboat energy left. Zooka's coming in hot, stage 22. Let's keep rocking and rolling. The thing about playing Mega Crab with Zookas is it gets your heart pounding. Definitely not recommended for players who don't have instant training, but I really, really enjoy it simply because you end up having to do all sorts of damage. So right about now, we're going to need one shock there, one shock there, one shock there. We're going to need 4 shocks, and there's a lot of damage that needs to be done. So probably should be bringing a hero that is not... You know what? We're going to bring Mr. Bullet. Bullet, probably a better hero. I don't think we can actually get this down, but... We're going to keep going. And if Zookas fail, then we're going to switch our troops up and come back with a slightly different / better troop. Now, on the flip side, we do have, what are these things called again? We do have these super warriors, so that is also going to help us because that will get all of our troops exactly where they need to go, and the super warrior is going to help us. And I need to clear all of these mines and get our troops walking. The cryo bomb definitely helping. We are also going to be using that super warrior just to get some extra delay to get our troops where we need them to keep our troops alive. We'll go over that in a minute. But for right now, we're still walking our troops. We're still doing adequately well. Still have the delay way back there. If we can pull this off, I will be absolutely amazed. This time, same thing. We're going to go smokes like that because we want Bullet to work his way towards that machine gun. We're going to hit taunt. And at this point, we're going to go like this and critters and shocks and shocks and shocks. Bullet is hopefully going to be somewhat out front because if he's not, we're going to get absolutely pummeled. Now, we are shocking all of the things. That Super Warrior is helping us a little bit, but not enough. Like, right about now, all of our Zookas are pounding away, but we don't have enough gunboat energy left over. Taunting, Oh, it's, you know what? It's going to be, why am I not throwing a med kit? I'm too busy watching. I do that all the time where I end up watching the attack, seeing if it's going to go down instead of doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Honestly, I am amazed that that went down. Stage 23, all Zookas, definitely should have brought some heavies. Definitely, bullet was the right choice, and we managed to take it down. I totally forgot to check our powder numbers. Let's have a look here. We are at 36, so we're +8, and we have not lost yet. So just shows, look at all those upgrades that are available. Now, my gunboat already maxed, my sculptor already maxed, so now I need to find something to upgrade that's not going to be super in the way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade a landing craft very, very quickly, and I'll do that once we're ready to call it a day. So next up, stage 24, again, a long, long walk, but this one looks like it should be very, very possible. What we're going to do is just get into it. Don't have a lot of time. I am on a tight time budget today. What we're going to do is drop one boat of Zookas. Anytime you see a lonely flamethrower at the shore, don't worry about bullet. Don't worry about anything but our good friend one boat. Look at that. See how they all outrange that? And then we can bring in the rest of our troops, drop some critters onto all those shock mines, and now we are in the clear. All sorts of good stuff happening. Now, I am using a ton of gunboat energy here because there's a ton of mines, but I think as soon as we get our troops moving, we should be golden here. So now it's just a matter of throwing those smokes as late as we possibly can. When you get hit by a shock mine, hold your smokes as long as you possibly can. Otherwise, you're going to have a very, very bad time, and you're going to end up with multiple troops hitting multiple shock mines, and you really, really, really don't want that. Shock launcher almost ruining. We are like just walking on the absolute edge, but thanks to our smoking and magic, we are still in the running to solo this. Now, we used so much gunboat energy, but somehow we still have all sorts of it left over, and we are going to hit that shock mine right about there. More shock mines, getting those smokes out as late as we possibly can, and just not doing well. So we're going to go 1-2 into this corner because that's going to hopefully get bullet where we need him to do. It's like, look how close that is to just dying constantly. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw some critters over in there, hoping that those critters distract the shock launcher. I mean, what should I say? The mortar. And now Bullet's just going to keep walking forward, and we're going to keep shocking the rocket launchers. And hopefully between those two things, we can get rid of all of this stuff. Need to probably throw a medkit, but really a medkit's not going to do anything for any of our troops except, you know what? Let's throw one of these, what are those guys called? The critter dudes, because the critter dudes might keep a couple of our Zookas alive, but it's very, very, very unlikely. Can we shock? Look at that. Shocked 4 rocket launchers and the Doom Cannon. Unfortunately, that mortar on that right-hand side has like 0.0001 health, and there are no Zookas shooting at it. So it's all up to Bullet at this point, and I don't think we have enough Zookas. So would Heavy Zooka have been better? Most definitely, because what happens then is you end up with Zookas in behind Heavies. Heavies hit the shock mines, your Zookas do better. Heavies end up taking shots from things like mortars and stuff. So our Zookas, you know, come on, I just need to taunt. I'm going to keep hammering on taunt. Look at this. We might actually get it down. Taunt keeping Bullet alive, maybe? No, we're not going to. I don't think there's... it's just close enough to give us a false sense of hope. Almost got it down. So close. Pretty stoked about that, actually. So now, we got our first failure on stage 24. And I know some of you are going to say, but Jimmy didn't fail until stage 50, or Frank, or Bob, or whoever. I know these were not the perfect troops. That is not the goal here. The goal is to have as much fun on the Mega Crab as possible. Obviously, every single person plays the Mega Crab differently, whether you're playing for upgrades or playing for trophies or playing for leaderboards. As long as you're having fun, that's the main bit. And that might sound a little bit cheesy, but let's be honest. Like, the Mega Crab can be a complete, we had 0 GBE left. You see that? Complete and utter grind. So if you have to use silly troops to not have a grind, all the power to you. I can only stand up for fun. Fun is required in Boom Beach. This is a game after all. Please don't stress. Please don't freak out. Please don't get angry. If you are getting angry, maybe just put the device down for a little bit, because it's meant to be a game. It's meant to be fun. So what we're going to do here is I am going to do some smoky mooka, mech zooka. This is a terrible idea, speaking of terrible ideas, but you know what? Let's do it, simply because I had a subscriber in the last little bit say, what about mechs and zookas? Now, spoiler alert, mechs don't actually step on zookas. I was kind of hoping they would. Could you imagine if you had to worry about these giant mechs walking beside you underneath smoke? You'd probably have a couple troops that got squished accidentally. But Supercell didn't agree. They said, no, not going to happen. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of those shock launchers. We're going to pop some critters over here. And then we're just going to get all of our troops over to the side. And hopefully those mechs will stand out front. And if not, we're going to throw some smokes on top of our zookas just to get our troops where we want them to be. Now, one other thing to note, you'll notice that all of those mines on that left-hand side are going to be a problem. We like smoking zookas with mechs, not recommended at all. Look how slow these things are. Our zookas actually beat them to the punch, which is incredibly unusual. And then we need to get into this corner, and we're going to go 1 and 2 just to make sure we get all of our troops where we need to get them. And then just waiting for those mechs to show up is so incredibly painful. So at this point, shocks and critters and shocks and battle orders, I suppose, is our best course of action. Also getting rid of some of those what are those things called? Those things are called rocket launchers, because otherwise we're going to have problems, especially the ones off to the side. So just getting rid of rockets, getting all of our troops walking, and hoping that somehow, some way we can get this down. I really don't have a lot of faith in our mooka attack strategy, but there is the outside chance that maybe, just maybe, those critters are going to get rid of that rocket, and then our zookas are going to end up with this free snipe on the headquarters. But I think that one, you know what? That one boom cannon off to that right-hand side is going to be just enough damage that I think we're going to lose. And our critters, look at this, the critters just need one more bite from those critters. That rocket launcher did not go down, and as a result, we failed. Now, look, I'm actually not gonna barrage that back rocket launcher, because I'm so curious to see how much health it had left. Because if that last rocket launcher went down, we would have finished this base. So back-to-back failures. Mooka, not a good strategy. I'm gonna guess that rocket launcher has 36 health. Let's have a look here. 108 health. So do not use mooka. Mooka is not a great way to plan a hit, but it's fun, I suppose. So we're going to go mech, zooka, and then all of our troops are going to walk off to the side. Now, you see that mortar completely and utterly ignored the rocket launcher that was next to it. I'm guessing that means that it considered the rocket launcher to be in its blind spot, which is a little bit frustrating. We are just getting pummeled by mortars, and I have not planned yet again. So mech zooka, you can say what you want about how I am unskilled at using this troop combo, but I really do think that this is not one for the history books. Do not go out and upgrade your mechs hoping to use them with zookas, because you will be disappointed. All sorts of sadness comes with mooka. And I can't say it without thinking about cows for whatever reason. Mooka, moo cow. So I'm going to be offline this weekend. If there are going to be warships sneak peeks, I will probably not have one for you, simply due to time constraints and life constraints. One of the number one questions people keep asking, though, is about Scorchers. We are going to throw as many Scorchers at this Mega Crab as we possibly can, because you guys seem to be absolutely in love with Scorchers. I don't know what it is. I am not a big Scorcher fan. I mean, I do have a lot of fun with them. attacking bases using 1, 2, or 3 boats of Scorchers, especially now that I can get 2 Scorchers in 1 boat. I love doing, you know what, that's not what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to put some tanks in here. So what we're going to do is try out some Scorcher tank goodness. Now I do have max level tanks. One of the first upgrades I did after getting HQ24 is tanks because I knew the Mega Crab was coming. Let's get rid of that NPC. Just a reminder, get rid of those NPCs as fast as you can because it just slightly, ever so slightly, increases your spawn rates, and you want to get as many player bases as you can. Also, don't use brick with Scorchers and tanks. It's not a good idea. Brick is going to die, and it's going to be humorous. Let's get rid of this shock launcher back in here. Just trying to plan for where our troops are going to be in a little bit. Also, we're going to clear a bunch of mines. I realistically should be waiting to pop those trail bombs, but I end up forgetting and then I get sad. So what I like to do is just clear my mines at the very beginning. I find that my attention to detail just wanes as I go along. So we're going to throw out some tiny shocks all over the place, brick's actually kind of helpful because I don't like using tanks or Scorchers all that much, and we are definitely speeding things up a little bit. Now my Scorchers, I believe, have somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000 health. I do have boosted troop health on this account, so we are progressing fairly quickly. We're going to keep shocking. Look at this. Our Scorchers are all basically full health at this point, so max level Scorchers. I don't even have max level Scorchers, I guess. I keep forgetting. I can't say max level anymore because HQ24, I have so many upgrades to do, as you saw there. One thing to remember that I have not done a good job of is keep buying raw crystals. Raw crystals, if you're not going to upgrade something, buy some raw crystals. Just don't spend too much on them. Those should be your absolute last ditch, lowest priority. Tanks and Scorchers. I gotta say, these tanks and Scorchers did pretty darn well. I'm kind of impressed. Obviously, we're only on stage 26, but Scorcher tank might make a bit of a comeback here. I don't think it'll last long. Bombardiers are way too op to ignore, but we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna get to stage 30, and then I'm gonna say sayonara, and I think that means goodbye, and talk to you in the next week or so. So busy weekend for me. I just passed a huge exam. Extremely excited. Why it was a huge exam is because I had an incredibly short amount of time to study for it. So pretty stoked on that. Boss basically came to me and said, we need someone to get this certification so we can put it on a proposal. I managed to pull it off through some absolute fluke of nature, so pretty stoked on that. Otherwise, I'm taking the kids camping for the weekend, giving me and some dads taking the kids camping and giving the moms and the wives a time off, which is always greatly appreciated, whether you're the mom taking the kids or the dad taking the kids. It's pretty awesome to have the house to yourself. I end up watching hockey and catching up on sports and stuff. My wife ends up cleaning the house and throwing things away and purging and selling things. So clearly we know who the productive member of society is, and I'll give you a hint, it's not me. Look at this, the remote defib bringing back Scorchers. That just brought back 100,000 health right there. Burning through this so incredibly quickly, and yeah, so Scorcher tank, not bad. The remote defib, I was never really a fan of the remote defib, but all of a sudden, the fact that I can bring back Scorchers, and those Scorchers are going to have 100,000 health, not bad. Obviously, I prefer the Speed Serum. Speed Serum, my favorite, partially because of the music, partially because of your troops just going absolute bananas. Let's switch things up. I'm going to go Scorcher Bombardier. Not something I recommend. Also, look at my resources. Look how full everything is. Not awesome. So I'm going to get raided. I'm going to lose all sorts of resources, but I'm not completely in it for the resources. as soon as this video ends, I should have spent some rock crystals there. Speaking of dumb maneuvers, now where to go? On the right hand side, shock launchers. Shock launchers are the easiest way to lose at the Mega Crab. If you want to lose at the Mega Crab, just go towards Scorchers. They will wreck your face. You will not be happy. So whenever you have a choice of going towards the left or the right, do check to see how many shock launchers there are, because if you head away from shock launchers, you're going to do far, far better than if you run towards them. So now our Scorchers are going to clear all of this stuff. Just got to make sure that our bombardiers are going to be protected. We're going to throw that on top. The crystal shield does have some uses, does not have a ton of uses, but it definitely can be useful to keep your troops alive, and it doesn't just have to be from things like doom cannons and stuff like that. So do consider, we should have brought some medics perhaps. All of our Scorchers spread out so far, and as a result they don't clear a ton of mines, so you really need to be on top of that, especially with bombardiers. Like, bombardiers are glass giants, for lack of a better term, and so you have to be so with it in order to not lose your troops. Also, just throwing med kits like crazy. Now, I believe there is a med kit tribe, but I also believe I have not boosted any tribes this period, simply because I'm trying to keep all of my resources going towards upgrades and things. So we are in a world of pain. Our Scorchers are getting picked off incredibly quickly. They're also sitting inside that blind spot of the other rocket launcher. So now it's just all about medkits. Our bombardiers, I do not recommend this troop combo unless you want to just like lose your hair and go prematurely gray and all that sort of stuff. That was stressful. Kind of fun, but stressful. Your Scorchers don't clear enough mines. Your bombardiers have too low a health. And that was absolutely silly. Speaking of silly, I'd really like to pull off an all warriors solo. You know what? We're on stage 29. I said I'm going to stage 30. We're going to load warriors. We're just going to give this our absolute best shot to try to solo this using warriors. Terrible idea, but you know what? I'm going to quit anyways. So we're going to do all the best things we can do to try to solo this using warriors. This is going to be awful, like straight up awful. What we're going to do is we need to get rid of that shock launcher on that right hand side. That should be enough to get rid of that. And now that that is done, we need to release some critters. So I am going to go something like this and like this and like this, and hopefully this is going to be enough. Just need, why did the critters not open up these things? Okay, so there we go. We're going to go something like this, and then we are going to flare as soon as they start to get towards some stuff. Oh man, this is not going to be super duper good. We're going to go 1 and 2 and just hope that our troops get somewhere close to where we want them. We're going to actually start out right here. I'm going to use taunt, and then we're going to throw some critters and shock and shock and shock and just clear absolutely everything around the core in the hopes that we can get all of this stuff down somewhat quickly. Our troops are just going to spread out, fan out, and just blow up absolutely everything. Hopefully we can get rid of all of this stuff. Ugh, this is not going super well, but it might just be enough to get Bullet back in here. And now we've got a couple critters around that boom cannon. Can we pull off the warrior solo on stage 29? It looks like maybe we might actually have this. I don't recommend this. This is a terrible idea. We've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds of our warriors pounding away at this shield. Now, one thing to note, this is going to be a massive shield, or a big shield anyways. These statue layouts, or this Mega Crab layouts, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 total shield gens. 15 shields, and our warriors are going to have to try to burn through this. It looks like we might actually get it down, though. Not what you need to do in any sort of these cross-style layouts is check how much shield is there, because a lot of the times you can just ignore the shields, but usually it's better to go get these shields right in the middle and then come over to the right hand side. So our warriors are going to pull off the massive stage 29 solo, absolute sheer ridiculousness. But honestly, is there any better way to end a video? So other people are going to be showing you solos on stages and how to on stages, and kudos to them. By all means, I love all Boom Beach creators. I love that people are doing that. But for this video, I figured I'd walk you through some silly attacks, some fun attacks, and talk about a couple different resource strategies and Mega Crab strategies for those of you who are familiar with it and may not be as familiar as some other people. So we're going to barrage this. See how much GBE we got from those 15 shield gens? Tons and tons. Just a reminder, we are picking up extra gunboat energy. I haven't talked about that at all in this video. I did talk about it in my sneak peek. So if you do have any questions, also check out my sneak peek. I will be replying to comments over the weekend. I'm not going to be offline or anything like that. We're not going camping in the boonies. So just a reminder, you do gain gunboat energy for every building that goes down. We're going to get 100%. So instead of getting 3 back, you're going to get 6. It increases to 150 as we go on. I'm going to share that with my task force, stage 29 solo. If you're looking for a task force, do check out the description because we have a couple spots, and if there's no room, let me know in the comments, especially if you're a max level player. We will try to make room for you. More importantly, we're going to load all of the troops required for an operation attack. That way I can get a landing craft upgraded going. I don't have enough diamonds quite yet to get that armory done, so we're going to lose some gold to some attackers for sure, and this is exactly why you want to scout people right now. As soon as you scout them, their resources are locked in. So in the middle of the best possible time for Mega Crab, do go scout them. What we're going to do is I am going to spend all of the rest of my resources because I don't want the vultures to take too many of them. We're going to spend some gold. Obviously, there's a whole lot more crabbing for me to do, so I'm going to get some raw crystals in. Make sure you leave yourself enough gold for a couple fails. Now, on the flip side, also do make sure you attack the imitation game because there is a whole bunch of resources there that will help you as well. So anyways, as always, I'm Zedmont. Thank you for coming in. Keep booming those beaches. Hit me up in the comments, like, share, subscribe, send this video to a friend, tell them a time point that they should check in, possibly that warrior solo, for example. I'm Zedmont. Love, love, love you all. Have a fantastic weekend. I shall talk to you soon. Peace.